Hello and welcome back to Chat About It, Don't Shout About It with me, Rachel, the Queen of the Woke, as crowned by one of my haters. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to my channel. Thank you to everyone who has subscribed already. I couldn't do this without you. Now, Doctor Who just can't stop us from speculating about the health of the show and if it will survive or not. It's hardly surprising because they chose to focus on pushy messaging and changing the show for the sake of their own agenda. And no, that does not actually make Chris Chibnall any better. He was just as bad. Now, I was supposed to have covered this last week, but due to a change in my day job, I never did. But the Deadline website are speculating about whether or not the Disney gamble has paid off in this new incarnation of the Doctor, Shruti Gatwa, who believes the show is about the plot device of regeneration rather than a sci-fi historical education show for families. Now, at this present moment in time, I don't feel like the gamble has paid off. It wouldn't surprise me if Disney, who have always wanted Doctor Who for years, in my opinion, are maybe waiting for it to bomb so they can actually get it for cheaper and have more creative control over it. I have linked the complete article from Deadline below because I have just selected segments from this particular article. Please do actually make sure that you head to the description of this video, click the link so that you can read the article for yourself and you are able to make a fully informed decision for yourself as well. I'm not going to tell you what to think. Now, let's find out what Deadline had to say from my selected clips. Now, I do apologize. Some of the wording in this is rather dodgy. When it comes to ratings, a complex picture has developed. In the UK, the first ep from May launched with a disappointing 2.6 million overnight viewers, miles behind the opener of previous Dr. Jodie Whittaker, and also shipping 2 million from the Tennant starring specials. Jordan, who's mentioned in this article, who keeps a keen eye on ratings, says he was genuinely amazed when he clocked how big the drop was. When consolidated 7-day viewing figures were taken into account, the entire series averaged an audience down almost 1.5 million per episode compared to Whittaker's last in 2021. According to the Barb data supplied by Overnight TV, while it failed to light up Barb's daily 7-day streaming rankings, which were at the time dominated by the likes of Baby Reindeer and Clarkson's Farm and evergreens such as EastEnders. Armed with reams of its own internal data, the BBC has repeatedly stressed that overnights and even 7-day figures fail to paint a conclusive portrait. Doctor Who is the BBC's top drama for under 35s. This year, the corporation says while Space Babies at the time of writing has amassed 6 million viewers, the BBC's Whoniverse iPlayer brand has streamed in its entirety nearly 65 million times this year, a spokeswoman says. The spokeswoman adds that the overnights no longer provide an accurate picture of all those who watch the drama in an on-demand world, and that this season of Doctor Who premiered on iPlayer nearly 24 hours before the broadcast, which impacted overnight figures. Now, here's the thing about the last bit. The validity of that, in my opinion, is minor. If the midnight watchers really thought it was that great, then they would watch again, surely. If people were not put off by the messaging and the attitudes of the cast and RTD, then they would have tuned in. Maybe. I noticed that after the public made it very clear they were not happy about being spoken to in the way that they were spoken to by the cast, RTD, and the Shields, they all went very quiet. It all went hushcombs. And how hard are they trying to make this sound really good? Space Babies has amassed 6 million views, according to this. Well, that wasn't within the 7-day consolidations that we were all told were the most important figure that we needed to pay attention to. Now, the article says that they don't paint a conclusive portrait because the conclusive portrait now sounds like to me that the 28-day figures and the fact that it's doing well with their new target group, the under 35s, who were not the original target group and all old enough to remember Eccleston through to present day, is the new portrait that they are trying to paint. And don't get me started with the shocked stuff about how the first episode of Shooty Gatwa did worse than Whittaker. Now, I was excited to get Tennant back, but after having seen what I have seen, I've decided that it was a huge mistake to bring him back. Had Shooty had a very clean regeneration with all this bi-generation nonsense not even being a thing, and been in it from the Star Beast, now I know schedules conflicted, but had he been in from then maybe his first outing would have been higher in viewings, but it wasn't. It is also a common trend that people do actually tune in for the first episode when you get a new Doctor, which is just purely out of interest, and then they do gradually drop off after that. One industry source was not convinced, mind. The ratings are a problem, they tell us. They can talk all they like about young viewers, but they're still down from the specials and down from the Whittaker series. I imagine serious conversations are happening at Disney. Disney will want to see results. Considering its marketing might and budget, a senior US rating source positions these figures as underwhelming, although they acknowledge Doctor Who has long struggled attracting mainstream audiences in the US. Okay, but not stellar. I think the highest rated one was probably Matt Smith. Was the simple verdict from a Disney insider about the internal view on its performance. All lies now on the upcoming season, which is in the can and due to launch next year, along with a long rumored set of spin offs that comprise the new universe, including the war between the land and the sea, which I believe is the new Sea Devils one. Fans were delighted when this spin off was alluded to in 73 Yards episode of the latest season, and a deadline is told that shooting will commence in September. Now, yes, Disney will want to see results. We've all been told that streaming is the future, yet from what I understand, Doctor Who hasn't done great with streaming on Disney Plus. Flix Patrol didn't tell us much. It didn't chart on the Samba TV ratings nor on the Nielsen's top 10. One of the sources close to the production believes that Disney will need to make a decision on its future relationship with the show after the war between the land and the sea wraps, and this could be having a bearing on how long the in-demand Gatwa remains the Doctor. Although the next season has wrapped, this source predicts the final episode has been left open-ended, with the possibility remaining that Gatwa could regenerate into his successor if he chooses to exit. Okay, so the agents have refused to respond. Sources are split onto the extent to which Disney will be pulling out will harm the show's future. While it would no doubt be embarrassing, Doctor Who's mega budget increase is perhaps less noticeable on screen than first thought, which is true. One source says, posting that Disney tentpoles like The Mandalorian look far more expensive on screen, but another says it will be a disaster. Given that Disney has spent all this money, the question becomes, what will the BBC do if they pull out, the source says. If they pull out, then the show will be axed. Straight up. If Disney, who I believe have always wanted Doctor Who, had not stumped up the cash, then the show would have fizzled out, much like it did in the Sylvester McCoy era. Now, it's very clear that the show had dwindling figures. Doctor Who TV has struggled to get the information they needed for their website, and they confirmed through Mr. H's reviews that they were not getting the audience index appreciation figures either. And to that, I ask the BBC, why are you hiding these audience index appreciation figures? If this series is that amazing, then what are you trying to hide? This series averaged, I worked it out for you, 3.7 million in viewership in an era that doesn't rely on VHS and DVD sales. So what is it that is making this show so low in ratings? What is it about this series that people don't like? Doctor Who TV released an opinion article, which I highly recommend you read. It's linked below. 5 big reasons why the 15th Doctor isn't working. I will have a look at each subheading and say my opinion. Please leave your opinions below. No consistent costume. So the one thing that we know is that the Doctor has one costume generally. You may see the odd change here and there, Tom Baker being a very notable one. And occasionally you have the Doctor in a period costume, but he always has his main staple he comes back to in each incarnation. Now, Ncuti did say himself that he had an idea in mind as to what costume he actually wanted to wear, but he was told he wasn't allowed it and that he was to wear different costumes for each episode. So essentially, he has become one of those cardboard cutout dress up dolls or a Ken doll, which makes the Doctor not instantly recognizable. Increased cowardice. The one thing that the Doctor isn't is a massive coward. Yes, he may show fear occasionally and run away, but that's not actually before he's shown the inquisitiveness he is actually very well known for. A lack of heroism and initiative. Now, I would agree with this. He showed a big lack of this, in my opinion. The companions are the eyes of the viewer, us. They are there to ask the questions and demand the answers for us, the viewers, because the Doctor is an intelligent Time Lord. So, therefore, he must know the answers. Well, the majority of the answers. There may be the occasional thing that he doesn't know, and he is very keen to learn about it. The companions are also there to be put in peril and for them to get saved by the Doctor. Yet, the Doctor in this series has been the one in the most grave peril in quite a lot of the episodes, and the companions are the ones that are doing all the hard work and quick thinking. Mel telling them to get back up, Ruby putting the leash on Sutek. The list is endless. Incongruous sexualization. Yes, I don't like this new Randy who prioritizes chasing another man over chasing away cosplaying aliens that are a threat to the human race. The Doctor has been predominantly played as an asexual, which still needs representation on the screens. And before I get the, oh, but Rose, in the comments, there's a reason why you never hear him say, I love you too, to Rose. He is a Time Lord. She's a human. He goes on, she dies. Even when she gets the Meta-Crisis Doctor, we still don't ever hear him or the Meta-Crisis Doctor say it. And there's a reason for it. Overly emotional. This is an issue for a lot of people, actually. The Doctor, in my opinion, is so old and hardened that crying shouldn't be in almost every single episode. If he's going to cry, then it must be for the big events, in my opinion. Something that is so shocking that he can't even keep in the tears. But that, of course, is just my opinion. Those are all my opinions, really, at the end of the day. Well, this series of Doctor Who was certainly a character assassination of the Doctor. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Remember to chat about it, don't chat about it, like the video, and subscribe. Thank you very much for watching. Bye-bye.